What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing Ravens content every single day. If you want to see that daily Ravens content, make sure the subscribe button down below. Hit the notification bell as well if you want to get notified every single time I upload a brand new video. And in this video today, it's Monday. It's Mock Draft Monday. It's also Free Agency Day. So definitely on the podcast this week, we will absolutely be talking about Gus Edwards, reconfigured his contract. Calais Campbell cut. We'll be talking about all of that stuff. I also was on a Vikings show earlier today talking about Josh Oliver. So if you guys want to check that out, I posted it on Twitter, so go check it out. But if you don't know about Mock Draft Monday, every Monday, no trade, 7-round mock draft. Been doing this now for 2 years. And we found a lot of players that I really like. And actually, if you don't know, in both of the drafts, we have drafted the player that is at the top of my board since we started doing this channel, right? That's what we've drafted. We've been pretty successful. I've been pretty spot on. I've been happy with all the selections. Let's jump right into it. Let's talk about it. Round 1, pick 22. I'm sitting there. There's a few options, right? There's my guy, Cam Smith. There's Bijan Robinson. There's Michael Mayer. But you know what? I decided with the Ravens now needing a safety, how can we address this draft? And I decided to go wide receiver first. And I went with Zay Flowers. Now, strategically, why I did this was I felt like if we went corner, with a Cam Smith or something like that, we would have to go wide receiver in the third. Whereas if we go wide receiver, we just have to go, I feel like, secondary in the third, which gives you more options. And so, we'll see who I take down the line. But I was like, okay, Zay Flowers is somebody that we would need. Explosive after the catch. He's got pretty solid quickness. He's not wide receiver 1 in this draft, in my opinion, but I like him. I don't hate him. I don't hate his game. We'll see what Mike McDonald would be able to do, but he's someone where you want to get the ball in space to him, screen passes, that type of thing, and let him work. You can maybe throw him out of the slot. You can throw him out wide, put him on a lot of different routes to just get him separation, and he's going to be a big playmaker for you. But next up, round 3, pick 86, I was looking at it, and this is when I was, intrigued. Luckily, it worked out for me. But I looked at it, and I was like, all right, do we want to go safety or do we want to go corner? And there were some corners that I've drafted before in the 3rd round. But then I was like, all right, I got to watch these safeties. So I'm watching them. I found a guy. I found a guy that I need to be a Raven in the 3rd round. If he slides to the 3rd round, he could very well go in the 2nd round. Would not be surprised whatsoever if he did. But I went with Christopher Smith, safety out of Georgia. He is somebody that can play slot, or he is somebody that can also play over top, and he can also play in the box. I think he works best, closer to the line of scrimmage, but he was the leader of that Georgia secondary. That Georgia defense was filthy, but he was the brains. All right. And who did we just lose? Chuck Clark, right? The brains of the Ravens safety, maybe even the brains of the Ravens defense. We just lost him. And I've talked about it, in the last couple of videos, but I feel like the Ravens need to get somebody that can do it all. Someone that can be aggressive, tackle, make big plays, and can play close to the line of scrimmage as well as over the top, because I don't want to be in a situation where, all right, well, we have to put him here so everybody knows what he's doing. I feel like with Christopher Smith, we could have Kyle Hamilton close to the box. We could have Christopher Smith playing slot or nickel. Then we could have, him over top and Kyle Hamilton playing in the box next to Marcus Williams over top with him. We could really mix it up and it would be really interesting. And he's somebody that I really, really would believe in if he became a Baltimore Raven. He's not somebody that was even on my radar for the Ravens to go after until we got rid of Chuck Clark. And now that we have, I think he would be a great option because I like some of the cornerbacks that we could get in the 4th round, but he can play that corner spot, right? He can play the nickel and he could force, not force, but allow the Ravens to put Pepe outside, right? Or Brandon Stevens outside. Just gives the Ravens versatility with the secondary. Next up, round 4, pick 125. And I had to go corner. I feel like, okay, we still need to go after somebody. And this is a risky pick. Travius Tomlinson, corner, TCU, very undersized, very athletic. That's really the extent of his game. Crazy athlete, really smart, very good in man coverage. All those things scream Raven, but he's 5'9". And he's not really expected to be a slot wide receiver at 5 foot or slot cornerback at 5'9". That's not the expectation. Now, could he? Absolutely, potentially. But like I'm thinking he could still play outside, even though he's very undersized, because he's so athletic and so good at jarring the ball out and so good at making plays that he could play on the outside. But again, he would give versatility. Right now, the Ravens would then have an undersized secondary outside of Marlon Humphrey, undersized at the cornerback position with, you know, Pepe Williams and Travius Hodges Tomlinson. But at the same time, we have Pepe. We have Jalen Armour-Davis. We have Brandon Stevens. The fourth round rookie probably wouldn't be starting right away. So instead, he would be a depth piece. And that athleticism would be fantastic on special teams. He'd be able to do it all for the Ravens. On special teams, maybe come in nickel packages, maybe come in dollar, dime, whatever. Come in and be a substitute and make some plays. Use his athleticism. The best part about being crazy athletic is if you get beat, you're not beat as bad as somebody that's not athletic when they get beat, because when they get beat, they're gone. With him, maybe he, makes the wrong, he thinks he's going outside. The guy goes inside. He's going to be able to make up that ground a little bit. And he's not going to allow that to be an 80-yard play. Maybe it's a 15-yard gain. You don't want to talk about guys getting beat, but every corner gets beat. Having that, catch up speed is very important in the NFL. And he's got great quickness, great speed. And I think he could be a decent cornerback in the NFL. Do I expect him to come out and be the greatest corner in history? No. But he just won the award for best cornerback in football. I believe it's the Jim Thorpe Award. And I feel like he could be pretty solid on this defense. And he just adds versatility. Next up, round 5, pick 158, I decided to go with an offensive lineman. I think it's very needed for the Ravens to go after a guard. Not Bradley Bozeman. Bradley Bozeman is gone, but Ben Powers is gone. He was the left guard for the Ravens last year, and I feel like Chandler Zavala out of NC State, I've drafted him a few times in the mock drafts. I think he's, just a standard, 5th, 6th round guard that you can get. He can battle for that spot with Ben Cleveland. He can battle with Patrick McCarry, whoever, you think can win that battle potentially. I think he could be a really good depth piece. It's never bad to have too many offensive linemen. I think he fits the bill. I think he'd be a solid pick. And finally, round 6, pick 199. This is somebody that, was recommended to me by a friend that I know that I fully trust his scouting. I think he's very good at evaluating and wide receivers. He's been very accurate in the past. So this is I don't want to say trusted source. He's a trusted scout. I don't know. Weird way of putting it, but I talk football with him all the time. The reason he can't come on the show is he's not allowed to give. His job doesn't allow him to be in any sort of content creation or anything like that. So that's why. Otherwise, I would totally have him on. He'd be a great person to have on. He's very, very insightful about the NFL. Puka Nacua, wide receiver out of BYU, big body, crazy jump ball skills, and could develop into a true X wide receiver. And for him to go in round 6 potentially is insane. Like, this guy could be a day 2, early day 3 player. But a lot of people have him sliding because he went to BYU and he doesn't have a super developed route tree. But you know what he does have? Crazy physicality, very smart. He's athletic, and he's just so good with the ball in the air. He's 6'2", 200 pounds. And I feel like he's somebody that you could really rely on in a jump ball situation and would be a great addition to at least the wide receiver room in practice if he doesn't even make the roster. But I feel like he could make the roster. That's how good he is. And I think it'd be a nice way to round out this offense is, hey, we did get that explosive ball in his hands, shifty wide receiver. Let's also get that jump ball body. I'll run through it one more time. Zay Flowers, Christopher Smith, Travius Hodges Tomlinson, Chandler Zavala, and Puka Nacua. What do you guys think about this draft? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know your mock drafts as well. And I will see all of you again tomorrow.